Hi everybody, Creative Katie, Karen Birdshill here. Welcome to my channel, Mixed Media Creations. Thank you to those of you that are subscribers. If you're not a subscriber, please hit the subscribe button now and select the option to get notified of upcoming videos. This video is part of my Build My Stash series. In this series, I will be showing you quick, easy, and inexpensive ways that you can create papers, embellishments, and other things that you can add to your mixed media art journal stash. If you have an idea, leave it in the comments below. So in this Build Your Stash, we are going to make some backgrounds that we'll have ready to go. So I am working on getting things ready for a craft market, so I want lots of backgrounds. So I'm going to be putting them on these little 4x4 canvas boards and these 5x7 canvas boards, but you could put this on to any mixed media page, ATCs, whatever substrate. You could put it on flashcards, index cards, anything that you would normally put a background on. So in this Build Your Stash, we're going to use stuff that we already have in our stash, which is the colored papers. Now, if you don't have colored papers, you can use scrapbook papers, you can use magazine papers, you can use anything that's really colored to get the same effect. But I'm going to use some of the coffee filters that I had created in my first Build Your Stash video, as well as other gel prints and leftover paper that I had seriously in my stash. So get whatever substrate you're going to work on, ATC, index card, and get them ready. Now, I did not gesso these. Now, normally I gesso everything before I go, but since I'm adding this layer, I don't think it's necessary to add gesso, but you do what feels right for you. So this is a coffee filter, and it's the perfect coverage for this 4x4. We'll talk about what happens if your page or whatever you want to put a background on is bigger, and I'll do an example of that. So I'm just using gel medium. It's the matte finish, but I've also had great success using Mod Podge matte. And I'm putting a generous layer of it right onto the canvas board, and then I'm putting the coffee filter or whatever the colored paper is right on top, and then I'm putting another coat of gel medium on top. Now the advantage of the Build Your Stash is I am only going to have one brush to clean the gel medium out of at the end of this session. Now this session in total took under 30 minutes, and I end up with 9 different backgrounds created, and they're all so beautifully colored. Now look at the amount of stencils that went into this one and the colors. If I was to start from scratch, I would have to dig out 4 different colors, 3 different stencils. So this is a great time saver using these colored papers. Now, most of them I actually do create when I do have leftover paint. But like my Build Your Stash video, you can specifically set aside some time and build up those colored papers. Now this one was totally, I had some purple and some, it looks like, I'm not sure if it's Prussian blue or Payne's gray, and I just had brushed it on there. Like, this was pretty loose, and you're going to see the lovely background that this creates afterwards. So there's already 3, mostly 3. Now I'm thinking this would fit on here, but we're going to do something else. Now this is on regular copy paper, not coffee filter. It was something in the recycling bin that I had done some gel printing on. And it doesn't matter, it will work equally as well as the coffee filters or any other paint. And you're going to see different examples of what I've put gel prints on or colored used up leftover paint on. And every different paper gives a different effect. And I love having those differences. When I selected the papers for this Build Your Stash session, I picked lots of different colors. Because when I go to create, I don't know what I'm going to create, what the focal point is, so I want to have some variety. This lovely gel print is on deli paper, and I actually ended up using, this is the bottom of a plastic paper plate holder that I've used on my gel plate. But isn't that just scrumptious? All that texture, all that, and I have an instantly gorgeous, gorgeous background. Which when I finish this, I'm not going to really have to do too much to it. And I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, that reminds me of a winter scene. I'm thinking there's going to be something wintry on that one. So what I do while I'm building these backgrounds, because I know I'm going to use them eventually, I might write on the back any of the ideas that occur to me while I'm creating the background. I might just put it on a post-it note and stick it on the back of the canvas or write it in a book. So here's what you do when you don't have, because if they're coffee filters or pages, you may not have, it may not cover perfectly. You can rip it up and you layer it. What that gives you is more texture and more interest. Warning, it does seem to take more paper when you start layering this. Now, I'm using all 2 coffee filters here that were done using the same colors, but you could do different colors. You could start with yellow at the top, then orange, red. You can do the colors of the rainbow. You can do the ombre effect. You could do whatever. And you're seeing me, I'm ripping off the edges. I don't like straight edges or the rounded edges, as the case may be. If you were doing some canvases and or a background and you wanted to have it, blue sky, green earth, you could do blues and then greens, and then you already have the beginning part of a landscape. If it was a garden, it could be different colors, So use your imagination. Doing a build your stash like this, where basically you're focusing on just the background right here. Now I may add things to this background when it comes time to finish it off beyond the focal point that is. I might want to put some texture paste on it. I may want to add some stamping. I don't know. And you'll have to keep watching my videos because I'm sure you're going to see some of these pop up. This was a gel print that was done on the throwaway piece of a napkin. After you peel off the top layer, this is one of the other layers. So it's very fragile. As you can see, it's ripped, but when you glue it on, it's all perfect. Now I'm just cutting, I'm leaving a thin border around because I'm going to glue this onto the back, kind of wrap it around and glue it onto the back. And that's a quick, easy way to do that. Now if you're doing this in an art journal, You could wrap it around if it's a page that you can take out, and if you weren't using the back side of the page, which I tend to not do. You know, you'll have to judge, but this does have a bit of an edge. Here's another gel print that I had on deli paper. I find I don't like collaging so much with deli paper. Oh no, this was one of the create a collage sheet, which is another, I'll probably do that as a build your stash video. But look at all these colors. And I'm just putting a coat on top. And I got a little rough there, and I think I tore the napkin, but easy peasy to just stick it back together, put another layer on, and everything's good. Here's a gorgeous gel print using a bubble stencil. Now the bits that I'm cutting off, I am not throwing those out. They are going back into my file folders of colored paper, and those little bits are going to find their way. I mean, I could take all those little bits and glue them down onto one background, and it would be a multicolor background that I could then do something else with. So now that they're all trimmed around the outer edge, I'm putting down a paper towel, and I've learned the hard way, you know, especially when there's gel medium, if you put a hard surface like that right on the craft mat, I tend to get some buildup, and it gets a little ugly for me. Like it just kind of scratches the surface, and I want to prevent that. So I'm just cutting a square out on the corners. Just so I can fold those edges over. And you can see how basically I'm just doing this assembly line. So now I'm just going to make sure that the edges are all properly adhered. I'm just kind of sticking the brush in there with the gel medium, and then I'm just wrapping around the paper. And if you're making these as gifts or to sell, you're going to want to make sure that this looks neat and tidy. Oh, I love that background. I could just frame that picture just by that background by itself. Another thing, when you're building your stash and doing it assembly line like this, you tend to perfect the flow. Like you kind of figure out the best and the easiest, most straightforward way of doing each of the steps. So what are you working on? Are you doing it on ATCs? I have a whole pile of ATCs that I have backgrounds on. Then some days when I want to create, I just kind of flip through there and I'm already halfway done and I've just started. If you have an idea for a Build Your Stash video, something that you do, please leave it in the comment section below. Share this video with your friends. Give it a thumbs up. Now, the thing with Build Your Stash, you need to make sure that you know what you have in your stash. The idea isn't to create all this stuff and build up your stash and then forget that you have those things. You need to make an effort to use it. So, preparing for the Christmas season and the craft market thing, it's perfect because I know I'm going to be using a lot of this, and I keep these things close on hand. I go through things periodically. I kind of flip through. Like I said, I've got a bunch of ATCs that are done. Every once in a while I grab that pile and I flip through them and see what I have, and often I get an idea and the rest just takes care of itself. So in this video, which in real time was 26 minutes, I completed 9 backgrounds on canvas boards, 5 5x7s, and there you have them, and 4 4x4s. I absolutely love these backgrounds, and keep watching because you'll see what I create with them.